Hello to all the beautiful people out there watching this video. You are most welcome to Tutorials Point. Well, in this video, we are going to discuss a very unique topic, and which is actually very important for us, because we are definitely faced with this situation wherein we have to introduce ourselves, and because we have to introduce ourselves, so we need to know the creative ways to introduce ourselves, right? So why is it really important that you break the cliche or the regular kind of introduction which has been going on for years and years? Why is it that important? Because your introduction is something which is gonna be carried with you throughout, right? Wherever you are working, or maybe you're studying, or any place, right? So your first impression is very important. So do you really think that you should just be going with that cliche method? Well, not really. Do you think that anyone and everyone who is listening to your introduction in that cliched method would be actually would it actually create an impact? Well, not really. Think about it, because think kind of do a kind of a role play. Do you think you would enjoy anyone's introduction who is doing it in a cliched manner? Well, I would definitely not, and I'm sure none of you would. So introducing yourself is something that is like kind of it is extremely essential that you introduce yourself in a way such that the kind of impact that you want to create, it should kind of create that impact of that degree, right? If you are just going the way it's been going on for years, well, then it would be as usual and common like anyone else. But we don't want that to happen, isn't it? So let's go ahead and see what is it that you can do differently to create the best impression of yourself. Okay, now first of all, go beyond your title. Well, we all have titles, don't we? For example, someone could be a trainer, someone could be a lawyer, someone could be a story writer, and so on and so forth. Now, is it that you're just going to say, okay, I'm XYZ and I am a this thing, or I'm a trainer, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a story writer, or I'm an editor? Really? Well, most of the people who would be listening to your introduction would even be aware what your title is. So how is it that you should be presenting your title such that those of those people who don't even know what your title is, they would kind of remember you even after you leave from there, right? It would create an impact. So how is it that you need to go beyond your title? Well, let us see an example. So let us assume someone is an English trainer and he or she is giving his or her introduction. Well, as English is one of the most commonly spoken languages in the world, so I help people in learning to communicate with each other in English. Wow! Because I am an English trainer, so you could probably end it up with that. So don't you think, if instead of saying, well, I'm an English trainer, instead of that, if I would say, well, English is one of the most important languages, most commonly spoken languages in the world. Not only that, it is also important for us because, we have to face so many interviews. It is so really important for so many endeavors. So I help people by teaching them or by training them, so that they can present themselves they can actually refine their language and they can present the best form of themselves, because I'm an English trainer, right? So this is kind of, now it's not that cliched way, it's not that regular way which used to happen always, and half of the people would not even be interested in listening to that. Now you have made your title interesting, so you're not just sticking to that one word, so you are kind of going beyond your title, right? So that is what is really important. If you actually want to grip your audiences in the very first in the very start, this is how you're going to do it, right? So don't just stick to a title, go beyond it, right? Because every title comes with certain responsibilities, certain roles, right? So you definitely can pitch in those roles and responsibilities, of course not as much in detail that people kind of end up sleeping, but yes, to a certain limit, so that your introduction now starts to sound interesting and it's not just that titular introduction, right? Okay, so now you told that, okay, you're an English trainer and this is what you do and all. Now, how do you go beyond it? What is the next important thing that you can actually do to make your introduction really unique and interesting and impactful? How do you do that? Well, think about the problems that only you can solve. That is right. Any person or any kind of a particular designation which any person has, as I told you, comes with a set of roles and responsibilities, and because there are roles and responsibilities, there definitely are certain problems which only and only that person can solve, right? Let us assume someone is a doctor, or doctors, of course, they have like a lot to introduce themselves. They can probably say, well, the world these days is suffering with so many probably an eating disorders, or maybe kind of mental disorders, or so on and so forth. So I am the person who helps them solve them because I'm a doctor. Or maybe you're a lawyer, like an example which gives here. So people nowadays, if you have a particular specialization, you can pitch in that, right? Nowadays, this has become a very, very common crime. So I help people resolve these issues by following a certain unique probably an approach, and because I am a lawyer, right? So now you are so you have to think, you'll probably have to brainstorm with yourself and think as to what are the certain set of problems which only you can solve and you are an expert with that. Because of course, with your your designation, with your title, definitely would come certain responsibilities, and because there are responsibilities, so you would definitely be one of those fittest person to solve them. So you can definitely pitch in all those important issues and problems which you and only you can help them solve, right? So that also would make your introduction really, really interesting, right? Okay, now because this entire process really involves so much brainstorming, don't you think it is a good idea that you should ask your friends and colleagues for inputs? Yes, definitely. Because let us assume you are going for an interview and you know the kind of job title that you applied for, right? And you are kind of prepared that, okay, this is a question which is going to definitely come my way. I'd be told to introduce myself, right? So you can definitely, before going for that final shot, you can, while prepping up yourself, you can take inputs from your friends, from your colleagues, from the people who know you around you, so that it's not just now just one person whose brain is working, there is a group of people, right? So definitely different inputs would help you a lot. Probably you could get a unique point which you maybe never thought of, right? So it is a good idea to take inputs so as to make your introduction really, really interesting, right? Okay, well, be honest about your feelings. Yes, that is very important. Now, honesty is something which anyone and everyone in this world appreciates, right? Everyone, kind of expects that their subordinates or their colleagues or their friends or their family members should be honest with them, right? So if you are appearing for an interview, whoever is interviewing you definitely expects you to be very, very honest, right? Because anyone and everyone in this world is smart these days, right? So you definitely cannot think of just fooling out people around, right? Because everyone is smart. So honesty is one such thing which definitely kind of grips everyone's feelings, right? So you definitely can be honest about yourself. Now, what do I actually mean when I say that? So how you can start an introduction? If you're nervous, let us assume that you're very nervous and you're going to apply this formula, but you're very nervous to start it. So how do you think could you start your introduction? You can say that I've just learned a new way of introducing myself and I'm experimenting with it, right? So can I try it on you? So now, because you know, you've kind of given a authoritative position to the person right in front of you, definitely they will accept you with open arms, because we all love to give advices. We all, it's kind of one-upmanship is something which is inbuilt in most of the human beings, right? So we would definitely enjoy, or we would definitely love it when someone is being honest and is asking for advice, right? So it is a good idea, and as it is you're nervous, if you just try to cover up, you might not be as good of an actor, right? But if you open up your feelings and you've told, okay, I'm being honest now, this is what I'm feeling and I've tried, this is a new way that I've learned and I want to try it, could I try it on you? So definitely that acceptance will come in the very start, and it's going to make your way very, very easy. Okay, well, now that you've given your feedback, you've applied all the fundas and formulas, now what do you think is the last thing that you're expecting? Well, definitely gather some feedback on your introduction. Yes, that is important, because depending upon the environment wherein you are, right? So there are different set of people whom you're going to meet, and basis the environment, your approach towards your introduction should be different, right? Which is why it is really important to gather feedback, right? So how could you actually gather feedback? What could you ask them? What do you remember about my feedback? So what do you remember about my introduction? Well, the thing which kind of people are able to recollect means you have expressed that in the best way, right? Which is why they remember. Otherwise, why would we even remember? There are so many people we're going to meet throughout the day. Why would someone, you know, only if something is as impactful would we remember it, right? So once you know whatever has impacted the audiences, you definitely can capitalize it, you know, next time, or you know, going forward, you can capitalize on it, right? So it is very important to collect your feedback, right? So friends, this was all about introducing yourself in a unique way. We will see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning, keep introducing yourself in the most creative way with Tutorials Point and Tutorix. We'll see you again in the next video. Have a good day.